All right, what's up, y'all? Hey, I'm going to start a new thing on these videos. Before we get into our conversation, I'm going to spit a rap verse at y'all, okay? I'm going to rap it real slow. And whoever gets it right, leave a comment. Whoever's the first comment to tell us where the song came from or the artist, you win. What do you win? Probably nothing. I ain't got nothing to give. But, hey, I'll pin the comment. All right, here we go. Here we go. He said, what'd he say? Excuse my charisma, vodka with a spritzer, swagger down pat, call my shit Patricia, Young Money Militia, and I'm the commissioner. You don't want to start wheezy because the F is for Phoenicia. Hey, if you know that verse, I kind of gave it up at that last line, but if you know that verse, let me know in the comments down below. If you get it first, you win. Now, today, I want to ask y'all a question. Do you like women's wrestling? I hope you said yes. Now, a follow-up question. Would you tune in to a weekly all women's wrestling show? And when I say all women's, I mean all women's. So I'm talking about women's wrestlers, women's commentators, women's announcers, women crowd. No, I'm playing. The crowd, everyone comes to the crowd. But I just want to see. It'll be an experiment for me. Because I think women's wrestling right now is in a spot where there's greatness in there, you know. There's amazing women's wrestlers around the world, not even in the big main companies, you feel me? Beyond that. But as far as the shows that I watch, being Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and TNA, I would love if there were more feuds that didn't revolve around the championship. Because think about it. What's the biggest storyline with the women going on right now? Liv and Rhea. And what is that revolving around? The World Championship. You feel me? I feel that it will be a nice experiment just to gauge what your audience is with women's wrestling, you know? And then once you gauge what your audience is, once you gauge the few 100,000 people that are going to tune in, because say you make the show, let's call it WWE Firestorm, I don't know. It's live for an hour on YouTube, not X. I'm not watching a wrestling show on X. Not at speed, I'm not watching that. Let's say it's called WWE Firestorm, only women's matches, 6 slots. You can do 6 matches. You can do 4 matches and 2 promos. You can do it don't matter. Whatever you want to do, that's how you do it. And the main point I would have too, the 2 champions, the 2 main women's champions, Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, would not be on the show. I'm not even giving them the chance to revolve their story around who's going to be next to fight Nia or who's going to be next to fight Liv. Nope, I'm not even giving y'all the chance. Y'all going to make some matches. Y'all going to create some stories. And at ground level, put 2 women in the ring and just say this feud right here is about who's better. And you may be saying, it has to revolve around a championship. Who cares about who's better? Okay, I'll raise you this. What the hell are Melo and Andrade wrestling about right now? What are they feuding over? What are Melo and Andrade feuding over right now? You don't know? I'll tell you right now. They're feuding over who's better. That's it. Melo and Andrade are both fighting over who's better. They've had 3 matches. The first match, the crowd was quiet. And then they had one big spot and the crowd was like, oh, they about to go. And the crowd was hot for the rest of the night. Then they went for match 2. They said, oh, this worked. Let's try it again. The crowd already knew what was about to happen. So they already hype. Another banger match. Then this past Friday, Orlando was on fire when Melo and Andrade were out there. You know why? Because they already had 2 matches that went before them. And as soon as they started, they're like, oh, they're about to hoop. They're about to hoop. Now the crowd knows that Melo and Andrade, whenever that bell rings, they about to hoop. No championships on the line. They only get about 10 to 15 minutes, but they go out there and they make use of every single minute. They might do a best of 7 series with that. And you know what? I'm seated. I've never been the biggest Andrade guy. I'm a huge fan of Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes is excellent. He might be the best in the world. I don't know. But Andrade hasn't been, I haven't been a big Andrade guy. I'm a big Andrade guy now because they made it. The reason why I bring up Melo and Andrade is because that is the most prevalent example of a feud done right. No championships, no contenders, just two wrestlers trying to figure out who's better. And I always will feel like competition, the best matches come right from that. You know, think about the greatest matches you've ever seen. Most of them are championship matches. Some of them may be. But in my book, a lot of the greatest matches I've ever seen had no championships involved. They were just in a feud because they didn't like each other. And it grew and it made the story better and it made the match better because you didn't know who was going to win. Because there was no motive. You have a heel and you have a face. You know? And it works. So in the case of the women, I just think that they need to do better with making feuds like that connect beyond just, okay, we know that whoever wins this is going to be the champion. Those feuds can work. You know, they're working at the moment. But you have a lot of women on your roster that realistically are never going to be women's champion. That's just the facts. It's not my facts. It's just the way they do it. If it was up to me, I would change it. I would, because in the WWE specifically, there's a pyramid. There's an upper echelon, that's your Biancas, Becky, Charlotte, Rhea, Liv, people like that. Then you have your middle echelon. That's like your Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Zelina Vega, Shayna Baszler. Then you have your lower. That's your Maxine Dupree. That's your Ivy Nile. That's a whole bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? That's your Valhalla, you know? That doesn't mean they have nothing to contribute. That doesn't mean they should never win a championship. That doesn't mean they don't deserve to have feuds that mean something. Triple H has all of the power to change the pyramid. He can change the pyramid whenever he wants. But he doesn't want to, and I can't change that. All I can tell you is what the facts are. And the facts are there are a whole bunch of women on the roster that are never going to reach that status of Bianca Belair. So let's build something for them. Let's build something for that lower mid-card to lower card division. You know what I'm saying? You have some of the most talented women on your roster that aren't being treated as such. If I had Kaden and Katana on my roster, they would wrestle every week. If I had Chelsea Green on my roster, she would wrestle every week. And she would have a meaningful feud because she has a character. She has a customized entrance with Samantha Irvin. The crowd responds to her. You know, Zelina Vega. There's no reason why Zelina Vega is just treading water right now. The last time she was the highest she was at in the past few months was when she was getting the Sonic rings knocked out of her by Rhea Ripley at Backlash. You feel me? There's a whole bunch of people on this roster that unfortunately will never main event WrestleMania one day. So why don't you create a division for them or create a show where they are always the main event? And then you can see what your audience is for women's wrestling and how you can grow it from there. What do you think NXT is doing so well? Why do you think NXT is going about things the way they are? A lot of the women on their roster, people don't know, but they're making the feuds to let them know. They're not just saying, okay, well, whatever Roxanne Perez is doing, let's just revolve around that. Whatever Kaylani Jordan is doing, let's just revolve around that. No, there's a whole bunch of women on the NXT roster that haven't even wrestled a match on TV yet. You feel me? But they slowly bring them in. Yeah, you have Jada Parker and Michin. They were feuding. Over what? They didn't like each other. And they put on some really great matches. And now Jada Parker is in a higher position. I believe she's in I think they're doing like a gauntlet elimination match on Tuesday. And whoever wins that, I think is for the NXT Championship. You know, so that feud got Jada Parker to the position where she might be contending for a championship soon. And Michin, I do wish that she won more because she's a very consistent, very good wrestler. It's just her win-loss record is terrible. You know what I'm saying? And she's about to lose to Nia Jax this coming Friday for the women's championship, So, but Michin is really good, And there's no reason why people like Michin have to be taking a back seat on the main roster shows because of the other people that are really in front of her. It doesn't mean they're better wrestlers than her. Michin is a much better wrestler than a lot of the people that are technically in front of her. You feel me? But that doesn't mean that she should never win a championship. That doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve to have a feud that the people can gravitate to. That's what Shawn Michaels understands. Triple H, for some reason, I don't know if it's a time constraint or just, I don't know. I think he's starting to do it with Ivy now and Maxine Dupree, and I really do appreciate that because I think that's going to help Maxine Dupree get better. Ivy now is a freaking tank. I'm a huge Ivy now fan. So they had a match tonight. It got interrupted by the Wyatt Six, but you can still build upon that feud. I don't want that feud to just go away. I think there's something there. Ivy now and Maxine can improve from that. We should always be waiting to find different ways for our superstars to improve. And that's a great way. You have a story, you have some matches, you got a feud going, no championship involved. You feel me? To me, it's easy. To me, just saying it is easy, but maybe there's other things that I don't understand about it. I don't think there are, but again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of a fan. I just want women's wrestling to be looked at as more than just who's champion. You feel me? Because it is more than that. Wrestling as a whole is about more than who's champion, who's at the top, who's going to main event WrestleMania. Wrestling is more than that. If it wasn't, the only people that would be on the roster are Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and freaking Gunther. You know what I'm saying? There would only be 10 people on the roster, the 10 top upper echelon people. You feel me? So I just hope that at some point we can start to build more women's feuds that revolve around that, And I don't know if it's going to take it. This is why I was thinking about, imagine if Triple H and Shawn just switched sides, just for a little bit. Triple H went back to NXT and Shawn held the main roster for about 6 months. Can you imagine how things would change again? Shawn would have every woman on that roster a feud that meant something and that the crowd could gravitate to. And if he couldn't do that, he would try. You feel me? So I need Triple H to make better efforts with that. And then I think the women's wrestling landscape as a whole, at least in this company, will be a lot better. AEW is a different thing. I'll probably make a separate video about that. AEW they're a different beast. You feel me? But for Raw and SmackDown specifically, I would love if they made an all-women show. They probably won't. The last time they did a pay-per-view was a long time ago. Every time that comes up in conversation, it just gets brushed under the rug for some reason. I don't know why. We need to bring that back. It was great, And I'm going to leave y'all with this. Recently, Jade Cargill had an interview, and I caught a clip of it the other day, and she was basically just asking the fans to demand more of women's wrestling from creative. Demand more for these companies to build feuds or just build women's wrestling to be more important. Because you got the performers, you have the crowd attention. All you need is the story, the foundation, and then let them do the rest. They're all excellent. Let them do the rest. And I'm a big advocate for this too. I think if I'm running a wrestling show and I have a women's division, I'm making a woman head of creative. I would say, hey, create an all-women team. I would. I believe that to make a strong women's division, a woman should be at the head of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I ain't gonna lie. Because the last time I really felt invigorated about the women's division is when Stephanie was there. We haven't seen an evolution. We haven't seen a Mae Young Classic in years. I'm not saying men can't book women's feuds and things of that nature. I just think a woman doing it would be better. And there's no point to go against that fact because the last time, like I said, last time a woman was there, great things were happening. So why not? That lessens the load of Triple H and all them. I know that you have so many alumni that are on. You have Michelle McCool and Alundra Blaze and a whole bunch of women that come back and forth to pop up at the shows just to say hello. You feel me? Give them a job. Give them a job. Give them a little job. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, help us with this, please. I bet you Michelle McCool will understand how to create better women's feuds than Triple H will. Because Triple H is worried about the bloodline and then CM Punk and then everybody else. You give it to Michelle McCool or freaking Stacy Keibler or Alundra Blaze or someone can walk in there and you can just make them the basis of it. And let them rock. If I'm wrong about it, I'll be wrong about it. But I don't think I'll be wrong about it. And the only way to try it is to do it. You know how fast I would throw a blank check at AJ Lee? Like, hey, you ain't got to wrestle no more. If you don't want to wrestle, if you can't wrestle, that's perfectly fine. But you have a mind for women's wrestling. You're a legend. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a former world champion. One of the longest world champions of all time. We're going to give you a blank check. Help us with this women's division, please. She might say yes. She might say yes. So, y'all let me know how you guys feel about it, man. How do you feel about the women's division at the moment? And again, I'm going to throw the question back at you. Would you watch an all-exclusive women's wrestling show? I was joking about the all-women's commentators, stuff like that, even though I think it would be great. Actually, I'm not joking. Fuck that. I'm not joking at all. I'm dead ass. Go for it. Why not? You know what I'm saying? But just women's wrestling, just their own show in their own space. They don't have to worry about anything else. They don't have to worry about fighting for time with the men. No. They can do their own thing. That's when you add a mid-card championship. And that is somewhere where you can prioritize the tag team championships. And you can build tag teams from that. That's how I would do it. But y'all let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, subscribe if you're new, subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below what kind of video you want me to do next. Stay safe, drink water. I love you guys, praise God, and I will see you in the next video, man.